Hey guys, TechVenture with the video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the iPhone 13 Pro after a month of usage. Going to talk about some of the good and the bad and our overall experience with this device since it's been released. It's been released now over a month or so, and if you guys have used it or are thinking of buying it, hopefully this video will help clear some of those questions up for you guys. So talk about the iPhone 13 Pro. Well, the 13 Pro, just another iteration of the iPhone. If you have the 12 Pro, it's probably not going to see too much going on for you, but there are slight feature enhancement that might be useful depending on what your purpose is for the iPhone itself here. So the iPhone 13 Pro comes in, of course, 4 different colors. You do get the gold, the silver, and then the graphite one. Those are the standard color but for the very first time, it's going to be the Sarah blue color. So if you really like this color, which we think is a really good premium looking color, it's probably the popular color to get on the market. So this one always seems to be like sold out, especially on some parts of the country, depending on where you're looking to get it. But we were able to get one of this before it got sold out. The other thing to note is that here with the 13 Pro is that one thing we definitely didn't like Apple that didn't do it this time around is that it still left that 128 gig base capacity for that $999 price tag. Definitely could have done better in terms of maybe doubling the base to 256 gig, although you can get the 13 Pro in the 256 gig and the 512 gig, and for the very first time you can actually get this device in 1 terabyte, which again is fantastic. But instead of having 4 different storage capacity, we think that Apple could have done better for its consumer, especially paying almost close to $1,100 with taxes and everything. That they should have done is increase the base capacity of the storage. The 13 Pro is going to be slightly heavier than the 12 Pro if you have the 12 Pro, and that's going to be the reason is that you have these bulkier camera. Again, these cameras are huge compared to the 12 lineup. When we meant huge, when you do a side-by-side comparison, probably notice is that they are bulging out, and it does have a weight of 7.19 ounces or 204 grams, and that's because of those cameras that we saw and just a little bit more weight on it. Again, because of what's going on with the device, you're going to notice that. Again, when it comes to the overall body build of this device, as you see here with the 13 and the 12 lineup, are these flat bezel around side, which again imitates the design of the older iPhone 5 lineup, where it used to be flat, then they went to round with the iPhone 6, but again they moved back here. So that's where you're looking at it. Other thing to note about this design is that it has both a ceramic front here and it has this matte back glass here. That's a stainless steel design body. The body here, again, it's a premium build. The 13 Pro is definitely by no means a cheap iPhone look to it. It has have that premium look and body design to it. Again, it's going to be because of that stainless steel body that it has. And other thing to talk about is going to be the display itself. So this is a 6.1 inch Super Retina XDR display with ProMotion here. You do get a 2532 by 1170 pixel resolution at 460 ppi, and for the very first time it's going to be that ProRes display. So as you see here, ProMotion display, for the 128 hertz. So what does that mean? It's just very crisp, but definitely like it buttery crisp look and feel to it. When you open up applications, when you're navigating, you'll see here when you go from one thing to another, it simply just opens up the world. Of course, you might not notice it in some application depending on itself here, but you get that sort of instant feel like it's faster because of that 120 hertz for the very first time on the phone. So it feels like it's faster, but again, it's because of that 120 hertz that's just able to mimic that display to just show you that, you know, the phone itself isn't isn't that it's super fast. It is definitely fast because you do have that A15 Bionic chipset on it. And the other thing to note of the body of that, this is a water resistant. It's IP68 rated, so that means you can take it for a dive 6 meters up to 30 minutes. Again, the one thing you do want to be cautious is with any iPhones is that although they're water resistant, that if you the back or the front, because they're glass, they can easily shatter. If you take it underwater, it can potentially be going to be damaging the phone because water is going to get into it. And we mentioned about the chipset on this phone. It's a A15 Bionic chip, which again is an improvement for the from previous generation. And this is something you're going to notice when you're playing games, because it does have 6 gig of RAM. Again, another thing that Apple doesn't come out and say it, but under the cover it's 6 gigs of RAM, which again is powerful when it comes to gaming, especially if you're playing games like PUBG and things like that are meant to be played in console. These speakers stuff are pretty good as well. You can see here when you do start to crank off the volume, you're going to notice that. And of course, because of that A15 Bionic chip, you also have 6-core CPU with 2 performance and 4 efficiency cores, and then 5-core GPU, so graphic wise definitely can handle heavy intensive gaming. And then there's a new 16-core neural engine, which again, if you take all of that technical stuff out, basically it's a powerful phone. It's probably one of the fastest smartphone, if not the fastest smartphone on the market right now to get. So if you're looking for speed and especially for things like gaming and just doing multitasking, the 13 Pro definitely does, especially if you're upgrading from maybe like iPhone 10 or earlier generation of phone. Talking about the next thing is going to be probably camera. So when it comes to camera, Apple does not shy away, and every iPhone that Apple comes up with, it's going to be again that piece of improvement in camera, because Apple wants you to believe that of course you're a photographer, and that's where they start to go into the camera. And of course, if you haven't noticed, we do have these triple 12 megapixel pro cameras. One is a telephoto wide and then ultra wide camera, and then specs are a little bit up from the 12 lineup here again, but not like it's going to be something really big. The one thing probably you're probably wondering, it's going to be that cinematic mode, which Apple demoed in their live vision, and we found that using cinematic mode, again, it does take really good videos. We're not gonna lie there when it comes to video, but especially if you're trying to create like really film grade video, you definitely get that with the 13 Pro. The camera wise, phenomenal. That portrait mode, night mode, all of that, we were able to take some really astonishingly fantastic photos, and that's going to be one thing. Again, if you're a photographer, probably going to be looking into this device here. The other thing about the cameras are going to be these photographic style, which is pretty much custom styles that Apple already sets for you that you can use. So if you're looking to really enhance, you're not a person that's going to be tweaking around with it, Apple pretty much made these custom styles for you to be able to do things that would just enhance your video and photographic skills. Of course, you have other things like Apple ProRAW enabled on this, auto or image stabilization, you have bus, all of this and much more with it. Again, camera wise, when we took photos and videos, again, crisp photos and just really great for photography as well. So that's going to be an interesting thing to note. Of course, Face ID here, it's going to be another feature that comes with it on the iPhone 13 Pro. You have all the other neat features of it. And the next thing we want to talk about, the battery life. Again, Apple claims it to be an all-day battery. From our usage for about a month or so, the battery is not bad. It's really good battery, actually. We were a little bit surprised, especially thinking, the battery isn't going to be great. But if you're somewhere between a medium user, so if you use it for here and there, throughout the day, you can pretty much go the whole day on a full single charge. So battery-wise, not going to be complaining there. Well, you can see the battery health has been good so far for us, and that's where it comes in. And the other thing about the 13 Pro is that you can actually charge this phone pretty quick, especially if you're using that 20 watt, which Apple doesn't include. probably biggest complaint for us is that they should be including that, because that costs almost another extra $30 on top of what you're already paying for this device. So again, Apple could definitely done better, but they do give you that USB-C cable because they want to be eco-friendly with the device. So again, by default, the software on the iPhone 13 Pro, it's going to be that iOS 15, which was built for. All of the apps in the beginning when we were using it were fine. Here and there we did notice some apps crashing, but right now, after some time of usage with the latest 15.1 update, the iPhone here definitely stabilizes. All those bugs and security fixes are gone through. All of the popular applications are working as they should be, and that's going to be probably a thing about the 13 Pro, is that software wise, again, Apple has always done itself pretty well when it comes to just the software itself. So nothing to complain there. Of course, those minor glitches in the beginning does happen here and time to time, but nothing that's going to be major like with any other smartphone or anything that's sort of groundbreaking where you do have to say, all right, this phone isn't good or by any means. When it comes to doing basic stuff on the phone, so especially if you're doing it for browsing, texting, calling, all of that stuff, again, the phone just does a phenomenal job. You're not going to be complaining about any of that. So making your calls, your all of that, texting, all of that is going to be good. So overall, after using the phone for a month or so, complaint is that the phone itself is a great phone. There's not too much to really complain. It's a fast phone. It's of course pricey. It has good cameras, and of course there's could been a couple improvements to the device itself. Again, it doesn't seem like going from the 12 Pro to the 13 Pro, you're getting too much upgrade besides those subtle upgrades in the battery life and the camera itself. But besides that, you're pretty much not getting too much. Of course, iOS 15 is the features of iOS 15 carry over to the previous generation of iPhone 12 Pro, so it's not that you're going to be getting groundbreaking improvement that makes the iPhone 13 Pro way better than the 12 Pro by any means. But that's kind of our review of the 13 Pro. We want to hear from you guys. If you guys have been using the 13 Pro or upgraded to 13 Pro or thinking of buying it, leave a comment in the comment section with your experiences. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.